Hello, everybody. Today I'm introducing us instead of the lovely Carrington. But welcome to Umoja, a togetherness podcast where we share wisdom as young adults for young adults, create a community of support, and most importantly, be authentic. I'm one of your hosts, Kasarian, and I'm joined by the lovely, ever handsome.
Carrington Hatton. Hello, everyone.
And today we are going to be talking about schooling, and we're just going to stick with schooling. We thought about like schooling and careers, but schooling and careers, like like it's a big thing. I just had a little talk with my friend another day about like careers, and I was like, oh, I hate that shit. But we can just start with like K through 12 because K through 12 to college because all that lends into eventually careers. But we're gonna talk about that another time. Um, but yeah, I mean, I guess we would start with Carrington. What's your experience with schooling? I mean, we have the exact same starting point, really much.
Yeah, pretty much, pretty much. Yeah, so the starting point is homeschool. We were both homeschooled pretty much from K all the way through. I mean, for me, it was middle school. And
I,
was it middle school for you as well?
I stopped at second grade, and then I got
Second
thrown
grade.
into Baltimore City School. What a great time!
Yeah, that's where I passed diverge a little bit.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, for if you want to talk about the middle school or the homeschool years, definitely because my memory of my childhood is just like fucking fucked. It's
yes,
just
that's crazy because like I mean I remember that time a little bit, right? Like not like super vividly, but like we definitely enjoyed ourselves as kids. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like
Mhm.
I think so. Like essentially, what it was. Um, so the way that even we met transcends us. It goes to our mothers because like the
Mhm.
way that it happened. I think I was talking to your mom about this another time when like me and her were talking about the podcast or something.
Mhm.
Um, but she was like, she saw me and my older brother. Like I have told y'all before, I got siblings. They were they were homeschooled with me. Me and my older brother, and we were out during the day with my mom's. And I think your mom saw us, and then like came up to us and was like, "Why aren't y'all in school?" And then we were like, "We are homeschooled." And your mom went talked to my mom, and then we ended up forming like a homeschooling group
Mhm.
with not only myself, Carrington, and a couple other of kids, and we homeschooled together.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. Those years were like it was mostly like just creativity. Like most like the things that I remember is nothing about the learning aspect. Truthfully, like
Mhm.
there was points like either we would be at my house or we'd be at one of our other friends' house. Sometimes we'd be at your house. Sometimes we'd be at one of the other friends' house.
Mhm.
Um, and one thing that like what we did like we cut up apples at one point and then did the apple taste test to see which apple was our favorite. Do you remember us doing that?
Huh, I don't. But I do have one specific memory that sticks out to me as well.
Go ahead.
It was when we were learning etiquette. We were sitting. We had like little tables or whatever. We were learning how to like hold a fork the right way and how to. I think we even like learned how to dance. Like we were dancing and shit. Like I don't know, but it was like obscure things like that that were like strange, not necessarily typical, but also pretty practical and pretty helpful.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, like all of us were black, right? Like we're all
Mm.
black, so we were.
Yeah.
It makes sense in a way that we would be taught like etiquette in a way, like not to say that we weren't educated or anything, but like we were in Baltimore City, and
Mm.
we were like, I believe that it was important to our parents that like we don't grow up and just be like rah rah and whoop de whooping, you know what I
Mm.
mean? Like, and that's interesting because like I don't fully remember the etiquette, but I fully like I really do remember the ballroom dance and stuff, and I'm almost
Mm.
like. and I can almost still ballroom dance. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I remember that. That was a good time. Um,
Yeah, it's fun.
and then like one time, like we made bread and like we used food coloring on the bread. Do you remember
Mm.
this?
I don't. Well, actually, I do remember something with some food color, but I don't remember the bread necessarily.
We had bread and like we put food color on it, so like some of them were like blue and red and green.
Mm.
That bread was smacking. I don't even remember really that much else about it, but like that was really
Mhm.
really cool. Um,
Yeah, I think it was a nice experience, and I think being homeschooled kind of it was a different sphere. It took us away from that the kind of vibe where you just like get put off. Well, both of us had to experience that eventually, but that
yeah,
was kind of deferred, like stepping into that new environment, all brand new people, like all that, those social status, all that crap. Like that's typical of schooling. But we got to experience that in a home environment. Um, and I remember schooling for me, like this was after the group homeschooling years. So I guess we can talk about now where the paths diverged. So
yeah, yeah. Go on.
after that homeschooling group thing, I went to this place called Bittersweet for elementary school, and it was basically like every student there was homeschooled, but it was like we met on Fridays and then had like pretty normal, like typical public school or whatever classes. And then yeah, in that time I was still homeschooled by my mom, and I just remember that environment being pretty nice, like having our own like just she would like get the textbooks like math for different grades and things like that. I think it was above level in math. I was like taking math for like seventh or sixth grade
Yeah.
during like, my fifth grade year or something like that. Um, but yeah, and then let's see. But yeah, I enjoyed that. Just being at home and learning, it was just such a nice vibe. And then going into school, there was a lot of kind of like just a little bit of fear. So I just like didn't know what to expect. Um, and I aced the reading exam for Chapelgate, which is where I went in sixth grade. That was a Christian private school. That was my first time with real schooling.
Uh,
Um, and that was a nice time. Made some friends there, got bullied there. It was a lot of different experiences, but I think it was a pretty typical high school experience. But one thing that I noticed distinctly different about high school than when I was homeschooled was that I was no longer kind of learning practical life things.
oh
I think
yeah.
yeah, I think I was learning a lot of, sciences, history, and then of course with that school in particular, they had a Bible class. I was learning a lot of kind of information-based things, and
Mm,
like most students, I feel like I developed that skill to be able to retain information for a test and then forget it immediately after.
straight up.
Like that's when all those skills started coming in, and those like kind of systematic education skills. And I was just like, looking back on that, I'm just like one big part of my passion right now is literally that, like how the school isn't teaching us these life skills, like
Mm,
high school and college even isn't aren't exposing us to necessary life skills.
no.
And then like a lot of people even after fucking college like don't know what the fuck is going on with their self-management and like not knowing that that's like one of the most important things you could ever the most important skills and sets of knowledge you could ever have. um but yeah, I think that dynamic between these informationals, like just information and the actual practical life skills, I think that colors a lot of my schooling experience.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I can see that. I'm curious though. Talk to me. Did you go to Christian middle school, or was it
Mhm.
like a middle high school
Oh
combination?
yeah, it was because I went to Chapelgate sixth grade and then yeah, I stayed there all the way through 12th grade.
Okay, cool, cool. Do you see
Mhm.
like a real difference in between like your transition from middle school to high school, even though you were in the exact same like building and around the same people?
Yeah, absolutely. This that school in particular had it divided like the two sides of the building pretty much for the middle school students and then the high school students. So
Okay.
literally all throughout middle school, I was kind of like whatever the idealizing. I'm not
Yeah,
sure what the word is.
idealizing. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the high school students, because like they were all big, and I was just like, oh my gosh, they know what they're doing, and like, oh man, when I get, because you get a different locker too. You get a locker on the other side of the building. I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be so cool when I get a locker. Um, and then like even though I was in the same place, becoming a freshman after being in eighth grade, like we had the graduation for eighth grade, like it was a big deal. But then I had a hard reset as a freshman, and I was like right smack on the bottom again of kind of the schooling status. So it was just like I had to reprove myself to like a whole new kind of environment.
Hmm.
The teachers were a little bit more harder, like a little bit more challenging. They expected more, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm always curious about like Christian school and like private school kind of in general.
Mm.
But you didn't go to a Catholic school. It
No.
was more like
Yeah.
Protestant or like Baptist, right?
Yeah. It was no. I don't even really know. Chapel. I think it might have been Presbyterian. Um.
Oh, right, yeah. All the
Yeah. But it was.
different denominations.
Yeah. But it was just Christian. The only things that I could say that were different about it being private and Christian were that we had a school uniform.
Right. Even in
And
high
we
school.
had yeah in
Yeah.
well middle and high,
Yeah.
and we had chapel on Thursdays. So that was like kind of like praise and worship, and then they sometimes will have guest speakers and things like that. Um, but yeah,
And was that like a whole school assembly?
yeah. Full school. Usually, sometimes they would do just high school and just middle school, but yeah.
Interesting. For sure, for sure.
Mhm. Yeah, so maybe we could do kind of how what changed pretty much after we diverged, and then get into that change from high school to college. So what was it
Yeah.
like? You said you went to public school in second grade. What was that like?
So, yeah, my schooling, um, not life, well, like life is kind of weird. So,
Mm,
I mean, I went to, because we from Baltimore, right? Like, I'm from,
mm,
technically speaking, I'm from like Baltimore County. But I transitioned into public school in Baltimore City. So in the first half of second grade, because I was only there from like the first two semesters or whatever, I was in Baltimore City School. It's called Ashburton. I didn't notice this because I was like young, and I don't even really remember going to school there. Kind of right, but I'll tell you a couple stories in a second. My brother was like, "Yo, upperclassmen had to wear clear backpacks so they wouldn't bring guns into school." Like that's what it was. Like they was really
oh,
out there in Ashburton. You know what I mean? My sister got beat up for like being smart. Or I think it was I don't know if it was because she had glasses or for being smart. Not sure. But like my older sister got beat up. Um, my older brother, nothing really happened to my older brother, but I got punched in the face like just for being smart, pretty much. And I was like 7. But I mean, granted, it was another 7-year old. I was like wimpy, so I was just like, dang, that hurt.
mm,
And then like my younger sister went there like for kindergarten for a part of kindergarten, right? Like every single day we would be in there, like there'd be a fight pretty much, like every day. Like I don't. It was really hard for me to like make friends, and it was like really hard for me to like kind of like engage with people like in school. Like I really do not remember because I really don't remember learning nothing in that place like at all because
mm,
like I think it's because like everybody was so far behind, like in their mind. You know what I mean? So
mm.
it was just crazy. It was a crazy little moment for real, for real. So my
What
head was
was
real.
the what was the race distribution like? Because I was just recalling like thinking while you were talking that my school was literally predominantly white, like predominantly white. Like for up until like maybe sophomore year, no, maybe freshman year, I was like one of like probably 6 black people that I could like literally see around me.
Straight up. Well, I mean, in Ashburton, it was like it was all black, 100%.
Hmm.
And then after that, so I would go to like I don't go to Ashburton after a couple months, right? Didn't really learn anything in there. Really weird, like strange place, like strange environment. to like really go from being in homeschool where like all I did was like learn and be obedient because it's like my parents to like regular school and like the kids like we really did not learn nothing. Like I was like in my chair, the kids were like running around like a menace. And I'm pretty sure it's crazy because Baltimore County, like Baltimore City schools, they have to bring in teachers from like overseas or something because like they're literally it's a danger to their life, like to some like to teachers' lives if they teach there or some shit, something crazy
Jeez.
like like and it's crazy like also on the wire like they filmed at like Ashburn. I wasn't there I don't think at that time, but it was crazy.
Mm.
So I transitioned to Wyman, which is an elementary school in the county, and that this is where like I've lived in the county pretty much my like all my formative years. As like Wyman is the majority black. I had some classmates that were from Pakistan, and that's about it. It was like, and like, there was no racial divide, like, none of that. Like, we were all kumbaya, of course, like, we kids, you know, we get into fights or whatever.
Mm.
So, like, I remember, I learned stuff there because it's like a county school. It's a little bit better.
Mm.
Um, and it's just, also, Ashburn was an all grade school from like kindergarten to 12. So, like, it was really, like, it's really not the best.
Right.
But yeah, I went there and that was cool. I went to middle school and I wore uniforms, mostly black, very few white, and then we had some Hispanic kids. Um, like my one of my mans was from Mexico, one of my mans was from like I don't want to say Ecuador. He could be Mexican or he could be like Salvadorian or something like that. I don't know. But and that we get like also a little bit of a mix. And then in high school, I go to what's called like a magnet school, so I have to test into it. And I know you probably know what a magnet school is, but I'm not sure if like everybody else is because I'm pretty sure
Mm-hmm.
that's like a Maryland thing. But I got to
Mm.
test into it, and what I went there for was programming. So I like took programming classes, and like it was a pretty good school, whatever. Um, and there's a mix, right? But it's mostly still like I would say like 50% black people. We get I would probably say 40% or 35% uh, East Asian, like India and Pakistan,
Mm.
whatever. And then we get I guess that's not East Asian, Middle Eastern, I guess. Um, and then we get like some white, some Hispanic, and that's all mixed up. And then yeah, like that's my demographic breakdown, and I think really like, and I mean, it's crazy because you talk about like your teachers being hard on you in high school. It's crazy because like my teachers were hard on me, but they're harder than my professors in college. Because like I think like I really have a theory about it. Like my thing is that the high school teachers really are like all y'all gotta worry about is going to school. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe we got home shit. Maybe we got like
Mm.
jobs. Sometimes we got like other things going on. But they like all you should be doing is eat, sleep, and breathe these assignments. With my
Mm.
professors, I'm like, y'all, I cannot get up out of bed. And they like, mental health is important. Go take a nap.
Yeah, yeah, they care. They understand that
Yeah,
we have lives outside of these classes and that we're taking a bunch of classes.
yeah. So like, and I go to even a small college, like not to like
Mhm.
skip over to the next part, but like I go to a really small college. Like it's like pretty much a high school. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like my class was like as big as my high school class. You know what I mean? So
Oh,
like
wow.
we really like my professors like really do care about me. They look out for me and all that good stuff, bro.
Mm.
Um, but yeah,
So
really what high school taught me. Sorry to cut you off.
oh, you're good.
Was like kind of the importance of mental health because I really saw like how many of my classmates declined their mental health declined like crazy. You know what I
Mm.
mean? So like it was just crazy, just to see.
Mm. Yeah, I can feel that. In high school, a at least a lot of my friends had this pretty much the schedule that because we were in symphonic band,
Mm.
so we would be at school at 7:30, and then band from 7:30 to 8, and then classes from 8 to 3, and then we would go home. Um, but yeah, I've definitely seen some people like go through different kinds of depression and just anxieties and things like that. Yeah, and it's just rough because those outside of school circumstances need to be taken into consideration. And the school counselor, I never went to her, but as far as I could tell, was not that great. She would literally like either like refer you to the nurse, where the nurse would just give you like an ice pack. I don't know, like she gave everybody ice pack for everything.
Shout out.
Yeah, yeah, but I didn't hear great things from the school counselor, so I don't know how helpful she was, but yeah, I definitely don't feel like I realized how much of an impact mental health played um, in high school. Like that was never communicated to me. I feel like, but in college,
Mm.
that's definitely on the table. Like people talk about mental health, at least in my school, all the time. So I feel like I'm way, 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 way more informed. But like I even had a friend in high school who suffered with depression, and I just like didn't know what to do about it because I wasn't really informed.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. I don't know. But that difference, I never considered mental health in high school versus mental health in college. It's
Yeah.
definitely
I think it what it was that a lot of my, not to say that, I mean like my freshman year I was a really bad student. I progressively get better as a student throughout my years in high school. Funnily enough, it's completely going the opposite way here. Post Corona times, I'm a real failure in college now. But like,
different.
it's it's crazy because I think what it was that like the majority of my friends they were like, I don't want to say overachievers, but really like their parents expected a whole lot from them, right? And could not accept anything other than like A's or whatever. Excuse me. And then like that led to like a lot of pressure, a lot of anxiety about failure, because like you're all trying to go to like you know a good college, and it was even worse because like one of my friends, like they both like from Pakistan, I believe. Yeah, Pakistan. Both from Pakistan, and then like one of them did really well. You know, like she was like our valedictorian or salutatorian. Oh, I don't even think she was either. Oh, no, she was like the valedictorian. Never mind. I'm tripping. My bad. But yeah, the valedictorian. She like she saw that like her family saw our valedictorian friend and kind of like was like, oh, why aren't you doing as good as her? You know what I mean?
Oh
Like it
wow.
was kind of like it's a whole lot. Like me, I was able to like kind of curb that stuff, even though my parents expected that from me. Like I was just like, man, I'm not there right now mentally. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Um, but
Mm.
yeah, like, and it was crazy because I had friends who were like that, and then I also had friends who were like the real like bottom half of our class. You know what I mean? So like,
Mhm.
I don't know. It was just interesting.
Yeah, I've definitely seen that, especially in minority communities. My minority parents don't play when it comes to school,
Yeah,
and they're just like a lot of my Asian friends like that. There's some true to that stereotype about like you must have straight A's and like not like honor your family and all that racist stuff. But like I don't know,
yeah,
maybe but like there's some truth to it, and like people definitely feel that pressure. Like I've seen people like be these high achievers, like get straight A's and stuff, and then like just like by senior year, they're just like fuck it, and like they just kind of spiral.
yeah.
Uh,
They're fully burnt out, right? Like,
Yeah.
and even in college, is really difficult. Like,
Mhm.
especially nowadays with Corona, and even weirdly enough, like I don't know if you went through this because I think you were in a different schooling county than me,
Mm.
but like during my junior year, um, I went through like what happened? Like essentially, I didn't do homework. That was one of my big things. I don't do homework. But
Mm.
my junior year, they pretty much like they adapted something called like a core mind, like it was like a educational push in the country, and we're in the United
Mm,
States. I hope that's clear. Um,
mm.
we're like in the country for a different type of like learning thing, and one of the
Oh,
grade
Common Core? Is it called
that's
Common
that
Core?
sounds exactly right. Common Core, yeah.
Mm,
And it was like we're gonna outlaw homework pretty much. We like y'all can give it, but you can't grade it. The only thing you can do now is like grade. It's grade assign like quizzes and tests, and like assign like some assignments or whatever. And
mm,
anything that you do can be redone. And if you don't turn something in, you don't get a 0, you get a 50. It was something really specific and really
mm.
strange.
And how did that change your schooling experience?
I mean, firstly, my grades went up because I didn't do homework and they're not grading homework anymore. I'm
Mm,
eating. I'm eating. So, like, it was crazy just to see how that, just like these little, like, minute number changes. Because there were people on the spectrum like me who are thriving, right? Who are like, yo, I never did homework in the first place. So instead of it being minus 10% on your grade, because like that's normally how much homework accounted for, 10%.
mm,
Minus 10% on your grade, it's now nothing. And if you do bad on a test, you can redo it. And if you don't do something, which sometimes I didn't do, I got a 50. Psh, man, we were
mm,
up. So like, there were people like me who was like, keep this everywhere. You know what I mean?
mm.
But then there were people like AP students and stuff who were really like these like real high achievers. They're like, I have never had under an A in my life, and for the first time, I got a B because of this new Common Core thing.
Oh, wow.
So it was simultaneous backlash from like the overachievers, and then us regular folk were like, hey bro, we like this. We kind of like this. You know what I mean? Like we can keep this going.
Mm,
And eventually they reverted it back. I got out of high school at the perfect time because it was only implemented for like a year because I'm pretty sure too much backlash.
oh, wow.
Yeah. But
And
that was
why
cool.
don't you do homework?
Because I'm like, this is stupid. I normally get it. And the crazy thing is though, when they implemented no grading and homework, I did more homework because I was like, I don't have to do it. I just want to do it.
Mm, yeah, some of the really nice professors that I've had literally create homework assignments and then make them optional, but don't like require them and then grade them heavily. Because a lot of it is literally just like busy work, and it's like not helping you learn necessarily. Like for a
Straight
lot
up.
of classes, I've experienced that. So, yeah, I definitely think that we need to, because the way high school kind of worked out for me, and then in college, like this was even more reinforced. Like my brain, like, and I was able to snap out of it like this only this year, I think. But my brain was like, just do what I can to get the grade, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, are we not here to learn? Like, am I not giving all my money and my parents' money to like so that I can learn something and then come out of this like with more knowledge, perhaps? But a lot of my
Perhaps.
classes, perhaps like a lot of my classes, I don't remember shit because
Yeah.
I've just all I recall is doing what I could to get that A, and if that required like remembering this acronym that I just made up for the next 10 minutes while I take this exam and then forgetting it, like whatever, like. But like learning wasn't in my core focus. It was a grade, and that's just literally not what education is.
Of course. Of course. And I think this is a good time to transition into college.
Yeah.
And we also have different college experience, right? Like
Mm,
you go to Towson, which is a public university, and then I go to Chatham University, which is a private institution, and it's also small as hell.
mm. Yeah, Towson's big as fuck. There's like always something going on.
Yeah, I think the ratio, like students to faculty is like 15 or something like that, or 14.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a definitely a good ratio. That's actually one of the reasons, besides like the campus being really, really nice. That was one of the reasons I decided to go to Towson because like it wasn't it was a huge university, a lot of students, but it wasn't going to be like these massive classes where you're like just a number and like professors don't even know you type of thing. They kept their ratio pretty decent.
Oh, that's actually dope. Cause like I heard of people going to public universities, they in like 300 head lecture halls, and I'm like,
Yeah, I had one class like that. It was like maybe probably like 100 people in the room. But outside of that, like literally, I had a class online, and it wasn't because of online, but a lot of classes are like this. It was literally like 9 people in the class.
that's dope.
So yeah, yeah, it's chill. I
Yeah,
assume the ratio is good over there.
yeah. Again, I think mine is like 14-1. I
Mm,
mean, what it is that like, I mean, the largest class I've ever been in is like my gen psych class. I think that was like 31, 32 people.
mm,
Um, Majority of my classes are somewhere in the single digits now because I'm well, like right now I'm taking a master's screenwriting class, and like I'm a creative writing major. I don't know if I said that on air before, but like I'm a creative writing major, so like the majority of my
mm,
classes are normally small because they're workshop classes.
mm,
They're normally in the realm of like 9 to like 15 people ish, but nowadays it's like the same heads, which is actually kind of rad. That's actually like
mm,
my favorite thing. Like I have a friend of mine. We have taken almost like every single creative writing class together, and it's kind of on accident but like I know that he will give me like good feedback because he knows how I write. He's seen me progress, and like some other people have also seen me progress, which I think is super cool. Um, so yeah, I actually don't really have the problem that you do. Like I'm not a GPA warrior anymore though. Like
mm.
I like the grade as long as I pass, it goes on the transcript or whatever. The diploma does not say your GPA. You get that, John. You get out of there. So like nowadays, I'm like, what am I gonna learn? And that's one of my struggles right now. I'm in a jazz survey class,
Mm,
and the assignments we have to submit are pretty much sub work. Like it's like the classic sub work, like define every bold term, then go to the exercises, complete exercise, blah blah, like 3, 6, and 8 or something like that.
Busy work.
Like straight up busy work, and I'm like,
Mm,
I can't do this. I can't do it. I can't do it. So right now I'm in a predicament because my semester ends next week on Friday, and I haven't submitted that much work for it because like I'm not learning anything in there.
mm. Yeah, that's super rough. I think I've gotten pretty lucky for whatever reason, like with a lot of my classes. And actually, it may not even be luck because I'm a law major and I have a theater minor, but outside of the practicality of both of those things, so that like is learning the actual law and like reading cases and things like that, and then for theater, it's like acting. Um, like outside of those things, a lot of my classes have been theory. Like they require like I have different electives required for my majors. So, like some of them have been philosophy, so I was able to take an ethics class.
Nice.
Um, and like that theory stuff, it gives me an opportunity to put myself into the work and like choose topics for papers and stuff that actually interest me.
Yeah.
Um, and for the first like half of my college career, I didn't really take that opportunity because I was on that procrastination tip and I was waiting to the last minute. So I was just like, whatever I can get to get this grade in and like not suffer and die. Um, but more recently, I've been taking that opportunity, and like a lot of my papers recently have been about psychology because like psychology is like literally the only thing I really care about, like mental health, all that stuff. Um, but this semester in particular, I've been able to make pretty interesting because of that.
Nice. Nice. You think you learn more like now in college more than you did in high school?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Particularly because my high school was, and it got more diverse as we went on. But like I said, it was predominantly white, and all the teachers were still predominantly white, even if the student body changed. And one of the most notable things that I didn't get in high school was actual history, because I took AP
Hmm.
US history, and you would
Oh,
think that I would have like comprehensive knowledge.
apish
Yeah,
baby.
yeah, yeah. But when I got to college, I think it was my spring semester of my freshman year, I took major authors in African American literature, and
Mm,
holy moly, like I got, you know, education about slavery for the first time, like seriously. Like I had no idea how much was omitted from my history, like teaching, like AP, Advanced Placement US History, and they
right.
didn't mention Martin Luther King once. And they glossed over slavery like it was a minor inconvenience or something. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
mhm,
that
that's
shit's insane. Like I never
yeah,
took a push, right? Like
mhm,
I'm, like, but like those AP classes are really designed just for you to pass the AP exam.
yeah,
And if
pretty
like
much.
if slavery ended on the AP exam, they're not going to teach it to you.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
You know?
And for systemic reasons, it wasn't.
Yeah, and it's crazier. Like I don't know if you keep up with this stuff, but like some states have pretty much like outlawed the talk of slavery. Like you're not allowed to teach students about it anymore.
I know there's a huge uproar right now about critical race theory, and they don't. A lot of parents are like in an uproar because they don't want people teaching their kids about, yeah, like you said, slavery and race and like the horrors and things like that. They don't like. I don't know.
Yeah, that's anarchy.
Yeah,
That's anarchy.
yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, I also am curious, like, how much do you think, if any, like you learn in the classroom, like in high school or even in college or anything, opposed to outside of the classroom? Because I feel like the majority of what I learned actually was not in the classroom. Like it was mostly how to deal with people and interact with people.
Hmm. Hmm. That's a good question. That's a good question. I would say in college, most definitely outside of the classroom, I learned more because like that's where all the drama was. That's where like I was forced into all these kinds of weird situations where I had to grow through.
Of course.
Um, I don't know. In high school, I think I took decent classes. I remember, yeah, I don't know. I don't think I was in that growth mindset in high school. I
Hmm.
don't think I was completely aware of what was going on. I think in high school I would probably say that I learned more inside the classes. But so yeah, what did you learn outside of the classes?
I mean, like for me, in high school, what it was like I don't know. Like again, I don't know. Also, if I said this on air, but I grew up as like an extrovert. Like I was really out there, and I think we swapped, right? Like you were more introverted as a
Yeah,
kid, right? Like, and I
yeah,
was much more extroverted, and now I'm like much more introverted, and like you're extroverted, which is actually
yeah.
kind of funny when I think about it.
I
Um,
never realized that. Wow, you're so right.
yeah, like now that I'm really thinking about it, I'm like, huh, that's crazy. But like what it is that like I realize that like you can feel with some people how they kind of just leech your energy. They just be like leeching, and
Mm,
like how you feel around certain people, and that was just more like, but like you were with people by proximity, pretty much like in high school, right? Like you
mm,
like we lived near each other, we rode the bus together, or blah blah blah, right? We got class together or
mm,
whatever. And it wasn't fully like that because I went to a magnet school because I had friends all over the county. But
mm,
still, it was like a little strange.
mm,
But like that also like allowed me to deal with people with so many different walks of life, right? Like again, I'm like lower middle class, you know what I mean? And then there are some people who I thought were like richer, or some people who were like poorer than me, some people whose like parents weren't fully in the picture, some people who did drugs, sold drugs, you know what I mean? Like all sorts of stuff. So it just allowed me to really interact with this super large amount of individuals.
mm,
And I thought that was really fascinating. And then to go to college where I was pretty much interacting with mostly black people other color folk or white people who knew how to deal with black people. I ended up in college and I met like I was mostly with like white people who kind of ain't never met black people before, you know.
Wow.
So like like it's like strange. And me, I don't really like think of myself as like very menacing or anything like that because I'm from like Baltimore where there are a lot more menacing individuals. And I also don't see myself as that tall, even though like I think I'm like average height, even though like I'm like six
You're,
one.
you're literally taller than me, and I'm like 6 foot.
Yeah, so like it was like weird because like I'd be walking and people be like kind of cautious of me, like they look at me like kind of weird.
Mm,
Um, and that also like just taught me just to be like to feel out situations,
mm,
which I'm thankful for, because I'm like, yo, I definitely was in a lot of not like a lot of predicaments, but like I was just in like situations and I was in like with friends, like friends at the time, and I could tell like, oh man, I'm kind of like not fully appreciated here. You know what I mean? But I
mm,
stayed. I was just chilling.
mm.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting. So you said you went pretty much from diverse to pretty much seeing like one type of people. I had the exact opposite experience. I was pretty much seeing like black and white people pretty much, and then we had some Asian foreign exchange students in high school,
Right.
and and then pretty much my bubble got burst the second I got to college because like I saw cultures I'd never experienced before, people with all different kinds of religion. That was a
Yep.
huge culture shock for me because I was
Straight up.
literally surrounded by all Christians for like literally most of my life.
Yeah.
Um, so like having people have different, different belief systems, like that was a huge thing for me. But like just having that huge culture kind of explosion. And I've always been like kind of in the middle of race. I don't think I've ever like if there's a black crew like at a school, like I'm literally like I can relate,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not in it. Like I've had that light skin treatment kind
Yeah.
of. I've had the light skin treatment, which is like kind of a little bit of exclusion. We all know what colorism is and all that.
Yeah. For sure. For sure.
Um, um, but yeah, in college, I didn't really identify with like the black groups, so I kind of just had to figure out my own thing. Um, I do know that in freshman year, it was pretty easy to make friends because every white girl wanted that gay best friend thing. So at parties, I was able to get connections, and everybody liked me because of that. But yeah, it was a huge, huge difference from college in high school in terms of demographics.
I'm actually really curious now that you mentioned religion. You never learned? Did you ever learn about other religions? Because like my understanding of religion comes from pretty much like my seventh grade world
Mm,
cultures class,
mm,
where we went through like Hinduism, Islam, and then there's also like Sikh and like we didn't really go over Sikhs, but like Judaism, all that other stuff, Buddhism, like all that
mm.
stuff. Like so, I
Oh
have a
wow.
kind of pretty good understanding of religion, right?
Mm,
Like I like, and even now, like I have some friends who are Muslim. I know like they don't drink alcohol. They don't eat pork. You know what I mean? Like I know like Hinduism, they don't eat beef. I'm almost 100% sure.
mm.
And like some other stuff. But like so you had like classes and they talked about religion.
Not necessarily. So the only class that I can remember that would even vaguely touch on that would be my 12th grade West Civ class. And it was I feel like they may have talked about religion. And I feel like if I asked some of my friends who were in that class, they'd probably be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like they definitely talked about religion. But I had a perspective back then where I was like in the solid belief that Christianity was the only way to go. And I
For
was just
sure.
like, this is the right thing, so my brain like literally probably dismissed any other point of view for like not even giving it the time of day, um, type of thing. Like I didn't realize how many perspectives people have until I got to college. Really, I was kind of really just in that Christian bubble. So even if we did get taught it, which it may have been in that one class, I just don't think I was open to it.
That's fascinating because like I'm so I don't know. Like I think that's so like wrong. Even like
Mm-hmm.
I get it. Like you went to like a Christian school, so that kind of makes sense. But like you're doing like a great disservice to the youth if you not like exposing them to like they're definitely gonna get exposed to other things. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I'm even like more blessed because like I don't believe all Muslims or anything are like terrorists or anything like that. Like, but like I know that there are some places that be like, oh, these guys, these Islamic extremists or whatever, these like they're all the same or some shit like that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so that baffles me in a way, and like it makes me kind of feel sad because I'm like, dang, that's messed up. Like you not giving these people the opportunity even to like I don't know really real like not even relate, but come to understand people they may meet later on in
Yeah,
life.
connecting on that human level, like literally, no matter what belief you have and what belief you think is the right thing, there's always going to be somebody that disagrees. So like, we don't. I was in that mindset where I was just like, it's so funny. What do they call it? The I can be friends with you, but I don't agree, or something like that.
Yeah,
Basically, the kind of perspective that people say when someone comes out to them, that kind of thing. I forget what the phrasing is that they use. I
hmm.
whatever. I don't support it, kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, it was. That's the kind of perspective I had. Like I was kind of like low key canceling people in my mind, like if they weren't a Christian type of thing. Like one of my friends after high school, after that Christian high school that we went to together, said that they didn't believe in God anymore, and I was just like, oh shit, what? Like this is new.
yeah,
And then I realized that their partner also didn't believe in God. I was just like, oh my God, they're a bad influence on them, kind of
yeah,
thing. But like literally, I thankfully I grew a bit more.
for sure.
And I'm not even a Christian anymore, but that's beside the point.
Yeah,
I realized that different perspectives are literally okay, and they're not a threat to your perspective. I think that
yeah.
was the thing.
I think that like education is really like failing us at this stage in the game. Like the more that
Funny.
I'm talking to you right now, I'm like, at least like especially privatized education. You know what I mean? Like I feel like again, my seventh grade world cultures class, that's like my main thing. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that is what I really understood. Um not like understood, but like that's what I really got in terms of like religion and like world history and all that stuff. And then I think about how when we got to high school, I we took government. I mean, at least I took government. Then I took world. I think I was supposed to take world studies, like world cultures or something like that again. But one of my teachers actually he got like kicked out, like pretty much out of our school. So like
Mm-hmm.
that kind of fell by the wayside. And then from there, I took like U.S. history in junior year, and I didn't even have a social. I had an econ my senior year, and I'm like, dog, I can barely remember like any of the stuff that they like taught me in
You would
any
think,
of those
you would think,
classes.
like if it had the title for like like government, for example, like you would think you would know a little something about government. Like, oh man, I don't think I took a government class in high school. But like it's just fascinating to me how I didn't even understand the Senate and the House of Representatives until 2020, like literally last year.
Yeah,
And that's mildly embarrassing to admit, but I just dead ass didn't understand how the government worked, and even how to vote and like all that shit.
I mean, truthfully, like I still don't really know how the because there's like the House, the Senate, the Cabinet, and then there's Congress, and then I'm like some of those are combined. Like Senate, like you can be a part of the Senate, but you're not a part of Congress or something weird. And then like Senate gets a 6 year, like what's the part re-election process, and then Congress only gets 2 years. And I'm like, what is going on? And then the
Yeah.
president is 4 years, and then like And then we even go like, I know you're in law school, so you actually know about how the judicial system works. I barely kind of know how the judicial system works either. Well, actually, no. I guess in a sense, I would know the most about the judicial system, but the legislative branch, I am out of there. Don't know a goddamn
Mm.
thing.
Yeah, this stuff like I think so you said that schooling's pretty much failing us, and I I mean I wouldn't necessarily disagree because like I think like literally just compile like whoever is in charge of this shit, please just compile a list of things that you're using on a daily basis to maintain whatever position you're in
Yeah,
and that set of skills, and then put that in the curriculum.
yeah,
Teach that to students because it's these core life skills that you need, and then you can build your understanding and knowledge around those skills and because of those skills. But if you don't have those skills and you're just absorbing a bunch of information, I feel like it's just kind of hitting the wall and falling flat.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Mm. Yeah, I like. Yeah, it's like a thing that like I'm really like thinking about. I'm like, wow. You think about like how we had geometry or trig and even calc. Like, there's
Mhm.
no reason really to use calculus, right? The only reason I can mentally use calculus is because I was really good at physics when I was younger.
Mm.
And I like and like physics and calculus actually kind of like go hand in hand, which is really weird.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, man, like I'm really looking back on it. I'm like, I don't remember anything. Like I don't like truthfully. Like this is something like that's really crazy as a creative writing major. I don't fully know what a subject and a predicate are, and that's what like comprises a sentence. And I'm like,
Mhm.
and I like for a little bit I like got into it. I was like, yo, am I like not creating sentences right? But it's not. But it's like I have such I think an understanding of English. I don't need to know the basics anymore because I know if sentence is ugly or sentence no ugly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Just recently, my English 310 professor, it's a writing argument. She literally was going back to the basics. Like she was like literally just doing subject, predicate, clauses, participles, like stuff like that. And I couldn't like I remember what I did know. I knew a gerund. That's like a verb acting as a noun. It has an ing. I knew that. I knew what a gerund was, but but
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
yeah.
man, you
That
got
basic
me.
stuff, it's like instinctual, like you said, like you know what an ugly sentence, like like if it don't make sense, if it don't flow, it sounds weird.
Yeah,
That's pretty much like what we use in the adult world. We don't really use subject predicate anymore.
and it's even like even deeper still because as somebody who I write poetry, you're kind of
Mhm.
supposed to break that down. You're kind of supposed to like not be fully always like super literal. You know what I mean? You take out function words like the and when or something like that. Um, and then you like take out other words. You misuse words. You kind of like make things abstract and like so
Mm.
like instead of like learning the basics, I'm kind of like rewriting them in my brain almost. So like yeah, that's just like crazy to me when I really think about like school and I'm like,
Mm.
how did we do this? This is crazy. Like I think about how we like analyze every book that we were reading or supposed to read. I never read for class. I still don't really read for class. Not gonna lie to you. But like it makes reading not really enjoyable either.
Mhm. Yeah, I had a huge reading drought. Like I used to read books for fun as a child. Like I read the Percy Jackson series, like
Nice.
Diary of a Wimpy Kid,
Yeah.
like them classics. But I had a reading drought, and like I got to that point in like middle and high school. I stopped reading in middle school, and then I got in high school. And I was just like so unenthused about reading. Like you, I didn't read the books like for summer reading. Like August 29th or whatever, I will be on Smart Spark Notes and Schmoop and
Yeah, crazy.
writing that summer reading paper. Yeah, but more recently, because I think I want to learn now, and I know that I'm like super passionate about personal growth, and I know that growth can come from any which way, like it's all connected. that's when I've actually started taking my reading a little bit more seriously. Like some of my classes, like if you're not engaging me, if you're not interesting, I'm like not reading. Um, and of course, if it's like required for the course, if I'm like I'm gonna bomb if I don't, I'll read. But a lot of the time, more recently than ever, I'm reading and actually getting something from it. Like
Nice.
my I'm taking literally I'm taking college sex ed, my sexuality in a diverse society. That's the name of the class.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's literally college sex ed, and it's like literally, it's so fucking cool. Like, well, being in a Christian high school, and maybe not even Christian high school, maybe it was just this school in particular. Because I've heard a lot of people have better sex ed experiences in high school, but all I can recall is that the health teacher compared like the balls going up because of temperature regulation. He compared it to like a turtle. That's all I remember. Like all I remember was literally that's it. And it was a lot it was pretty um abstinence based. I think that's the term.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and we didn't learn about different sexualities, of course. Being gay was like that was totally under the table. Like nobody wanted it was like nobody wanted to talk about it, that type of thing. But getting this experience in college now, like because it's like there's no religious like kind of hood over it. Like it's just open and then like we're talking about everything. Like we're talking about porn, which was another no topic in high school.
Yeah,
Like it's awesome. It's very, very refreshing.
that's super dope. Yeah, cause like I don't know. Did I have sex ed in high school? I don't. Ooh, did I? That's a good. I don't remember. Oh, I guess I had health class in high school, so I guess that could function as sex ed. Um,
Mhm.
but we weren't like I had sex ed like in pretty much in yeah, in elementary school, middle school, and in high school. Um,
Oh wow.
yeah, and it wasn't anything crazy, but it was just like I don't know. It just pretty much told us that like sex is gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like you might as well just accept that and like move on. Not like yeah, they are kind of like move
Mhm.
on. You know?
Mm. It was like more chill.
Yeah, and I mean,
Mm.
yeah, that again like goes into the privatized education part because I'm like, it wouldn't be like this if like if you went to like a more public place, right? More public school.
Mm. Yeah, that's definitely seems to be the case with public education. You're pretty much in a bubble. It's like this kind of lens that exists there, but with public, like you can't make it a bubble because literally any and everybody is coming through, like with all different kinds of backgrounds.
Yeah, like straight up.
Cool. Well, I think we're approaching time.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, that was just a very broad topic.
Mm.
Talk about a lot of things. I eventually do want to talk about careers, cause like careers be whack. Like I'm already thinking like in my mind like, can I do a 9 to 5? No, I can't. Spoiler alert. I'm sorry. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, start talking about entrepreneurship and all that stuff.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, that was literally just a brushstroke covering all of it. But I'm sure we'll have episodes in the future where we go like in micro about high school, about college, and about careers. So look
yeah,
forward to that.
yeah. That's gonna be super exciting. I'm gonna maybe try to yeah high school, middle school and shit. That was like very entertaining. But yeah, glad for you guys to join us. We're gonna keep this title for right now. Who knows? Maybe we'll change it up. Just keep you on your toes. You know.
Yeah, I like the vibe for now, but who knows? Thankfully, with this, we have that kind of freedom.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. Well, thank you, Carrington, for joining. Thank you all for listening. I don't really know if we should leave a nugget of wisdom. This was like maybe just read more. Like if you go to like a private institution or something, definitely go out and interact with people who don't look like you and who don't think like you
Mm-hmm.
because that's definitely gonna get you like trapped into thinking one way, and then it's like the quicker you can meet people and like challenge your expectations of like these thoughts you have about them, the easier your life is gonna be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And I think an easy way to tell whether or not you're getting like full education or not, if you're getting like the full worldview, like everybody included, is like if you don't have your core beliefs challenged every now and then, like I think you should. I think in order to grow and in order to learn, you need to challenge your core beliefs fairly often.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, definitely be reading, definitely be open to all those different perspectives, and honestly, like take your learning into your own hands if that's what you want to do. If you really want to learn, take your learning into your own hands
Yeah.
outside of class.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Um. Well, yeah. That's all we got for you guys today. We appreciate you. Be safe out there. Um. Enjoy yourselves. We're recording this near-ish Chris. Well, I guess we're just in December right now. We
Mhm.
don't know when we'll release them, but if we release them before the new year, have a good new year. We leave them after. I hope you have a great start to your year. Um, until then, we'll see you again soon, guys.